Hello bass family and welcome to Everything Bass. Hey, Slap Groove 15, I was just playing it and kind of anxious to show it to you, a little bit different. Gonna try to break down like some of the rhythmic ideas I'm doing here that maybe you can add to your playing to give you a little more variety and give you new areas to explore in the instrument. One of my key goals in giving you these slap groove patterns is that they're just like the first domino, the first catalytic idea that kind of goes, hey, oh wow, I can take this and now do this, and you're into a whole new thing that's different from what I did, but is all new to you and hopefully gives you new avenues of expression for your technique. So let's start. This groove starts with an E to a G to an A. Simple notes, and your thumb in each one, but it's the rhythm I want to draw you into. Now I'm going to talk a lot about like note values right now, but you can also go with feel. But the first note you're holding for 1.5 beats. If we're going to count eighth notes, it'd be 1 and 2 and. You go to the G on the and of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So instead of playing like 1, 2, 3 or half notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, like that, by adding in these little anticipations, by starting on the and of 2 and starting on the and of 4, you create this cool kind of energy and motion. Now you notice I was clicking with my hand just to give you a sense of where the pulse was, but you can play it without that click. So that's my walk up. And then I want to put a little ornament on it. Something adds a little bit of funkiness to it. And that's quite simple. You're going to start by playing an open A. So we walked up to a fretted A, but I need to be able to move my fretting hand. So I'm going to use the open A to be able to give me just a second to move around and get adjusted. And we're going to go A, D, hammer on. And you notice I'm thumbing all those. Thumb, thumb, hammer on. That's an eighth note and 2 16th notes. Then I play a muted E string again. I just let my hand hit the strings. And I pop that 5th fret G. Then I do a ricochet. If you remember ricochet, it's a muted thumb and a muted pop. If you're not familiar with that term or that technique, I did a video in the Fundamentals of Slap series, which you can actually check. There's a whole playlist on my channel of Fundamentals of Slap, and you can play through those, and you'll find the ricochet lick. But we're now doing the ricochet, and we come back down with a thumb on the E on the 7th fret. Let me play that little passage, starting with the open A. I love that. I just like how it feels in my hand. I like how it sounds. Kind of flubbed it. Now let's add it in with the walk up, and hopefully you'll see that there's this long legato section and then this cool kind of syncopated section. Now, I just was thinking as I'm playing this, oh man, people are always saying, could you slow down your examples? And I forget. So let me do it slower now. Okay. Now, the third measure is the same as the first measure. You're still doing the same walk up. And now you're going to thumb that open A to give you a chance to get up to this 14th fret A and pop it and go down to the G and back up to the A. Now let me put it in context. Hopefully you'll hear how it goes. Oh, I played that wrong. I played it how I did in the intro and I realized that I actually wrote different. That's what it should sound like. The first pop note is the A as an eighth note. Then it's chord notes based on beats 3 and 4. 3, 4. Let me put that together. So let me play the whole thing so you can hear it from the beginning to the end of the 4 bars. I screwed it up! Ha! Dang it. It's too early. Boy, I just don't like the eighth note there. Why did I write it in that way? Yeah, that's it. Okay. It's funny, guys, I'll write something because I want to show something or it's how I feel at the moment, and then I'll get into a groove as I'm playing it, and I just get caught off on the others. But there's two variations. You could just do the, or you can go. So try either one. Free alternate option there on the end. Okay, Slap Groove 15. Cool little feel. Hopefully kind of getting you used to the idea of maybe not always playing your thumbs on the downbeat, mixing up, playing a thumb on the downbeat, then on upbeat and upbeat, and see what energy it creates. You may want to practice this with a click so you can actually not lose the downbeat, because sometimes you could think you're doing it and it turns out you're just playing half notes. So something to consider. Okay, now we're moving on to a very special Encore item, a song that was, or an album that was so important to me. And it is Joe Sample's Spellbound, and that is from 1989, the recording Spellbound. Now it has Marcus Miller on bass, Omar Hakim on drums, and Lenny Castro on percussion. So these three guys create song after song some of the coolest grooves that I've ever heard. This album has a great, to me it always signified like Sunday morning, I need to relax, it's early, I'll put on this recording, and it just puts me in a happy place. But you have Marcus Miller and Omar Hakim, and I don't want to sell Lenny Castro short because he's obviously part of it, but Omar Hakim is one of my favorite drummers of all time, and Marcus Miller is Marcus Miller. And to hear these guys playing together, and the recording quality is phenomenal. It's just a wonderful collection. Strong, simple melodies, but really strong melodies, songs that you'll get cut in your head. But you really can hear the masterful musicianship of Marcus Miller. Masterful musicianship of Marcus. That's alliteration for you, but it perfectly describes his playing on this album. You know, Spellbound is a title track on it, and it's a great song, but my ear is more drawn to Somehow Our Love Survives, U-Turn. Check out U-Turn, how funky that thing is, and Sermonized. Those are just three of the highlights, but honestly, I never cherry pick that album. That's one album where I'll just start on track one and let the entire thing play. And I think you guys are going to love it. And it might be, if you're a really big Marcus fan, you might have been like totally unaware of it, and you got to check it out. You know, sure, it doesn't feature all his over-the-top soloing and technique and playing, but I think it really highlights his ability to play great bass lines, interacting with drummer and percussionist, and creating this foundation that Joe Sample and a ton of guest musicians just go off on. It's a wonderful recording. It is one of my Desert Island discs, so I'm glad to share it with you today. And hopefully it's one you guys don't know about. I kind of ping pong between really common recordings that are important to me that I share with you guys, and then some obscure ones, hopefully to give you new input. And that's what we need as musicians, is constantly hearing new input. If you are at a point where you're frustrated and you just can't think of, you know, like you don't want to pick up the instrument, you're kind of plateaued, it just doesn't seem like something you want to do. Sometimes finding a new recording, getting jazzed, getting like, wow, this is so cool, will be that little kind of oomph you need to be able to get the bass back in your hands and continue on your journey. So guys, there it is, Slap Groove 15, and we have Joe Sample's Spellbound, which has it's 1989 release and has Marcus Miller on bass. Phenomenal. I so love it. I hope you guys do too. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And you know, as always, I'm going to end with the same pitch. And I know some of you guys stopped the video here because you know it's coming, but please, if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed yet, it means so much. It means so much in the eyes of YouTube, and it opens up more possibilities for the channel to grow. If you could just subscribe, it's free, and click the little bell icon if you don't mind. That also lets you know when I'm putting up new content, which usually just on the weekends. And of course, it means a ton of me if you could just like it. That little thumb, that just 1 second it takes to go down and hit the thumbs up on the video. If you could do that for every video of mine you watch, it really raises my value in the eyes of YouTube, and it makes things possible that weren't possible before. I appreciate it so much, guys. If you want to become a Patreon subscriber, the link is in the description below. I really appreciate you financially supporting the channel. What you guys have been doing has just really helped me beyond words to realize this, a dream I've had for a long time, which is creating this community of bass players. All right, guys, I will see you at the next video. Be good to yourself and play loud.